Hodaki Big Show podcast.
What are you doing, weekends?
Yeah, weekends.
Only?
Yeah.
Has it crept in yet?
No.
It's the sort of thing tends to creep in.
No. Well, normally I would say for someone like me, absolutely it would. But
Yes.
actually, no.
Yeah, so far so good for us, although it's already crept in.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where what day of the week is it today? It's
Tuesday.
Tuesday, is it? We're having it all this week, and most of the week it doesn't.
Actually,
Well, it's just Basil, right?
for me, it was Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
And
Like a pesto or something.
I made a pesto of it, actually.
Yeah.
And, I overdid the pesto a fraction.
Did you?
Yeah. To the point where I was like...
You pestoed out.
Freaking out, were you?
Yeah.
Did the Noia kick in?
No, not really.
That's
It
good.
was really interesting because, back in the day, the Noia would kick in massively, and that would be all there was the Noia.
Yes.
Now I'm of an age where it's like, oh, the Noia could be there, but I choose not to have it.
Yeah, well, that's right, and that's when I first started it, because this is medicinal, Keezy. You got to remember that, man.
What, the basil?
I've got this on prescription, this basil, and the first couple of times I had it, I was like, nah. This is how I remember it. I don't like it. And then recently, it's not been like that.
Yeah.
So I gave it a miss for about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Just sat in the cupboard.
What's really important to me in terms of the basil is having a clear afternoon.
Yes.
So, like, I wouldn't have a pesto on my crackers, for example, if I had commitments that afternoon.
No, that's right. And nor would I, and it's because I've got the kid as well.
Yes.
I'm not going anywhere near the basil.
And
Yeah.
how are
well,
you eating the basil pesto? Are you rolling it up in a salami and then...
yes, I am.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think you've got
I've got a basil vaporizer.
Yeah.
But I went to a comedy gig the other night.
Yes.
When was that? On the weekend or the weekend before? And
I'm going to say weekend before because it was a cyclone.
oh yeah, you might be right. You are right. And somebody we're there with said, "Oh, do you want a hoot and toot on this?"
Basil. Yeah.
And I had one hoot and toot,
Yeah.
and I was absolutely basiled off my head.
Wow.
I was basiled for about 2.5 hours, man.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I don't know what the guts is with these vaporizers, whether it's but I don't want to be that basiled.
No, and for me, the scenario of being highly basiled in a large group of people is not attractive to me.
Yeah, actually, I was fine.
Yes.
I quite enjoyed myself,
Yeah.
but I was fucked.
You know what it was that I think the first time I rolled the basil up in the salami there,
Yeah.
I didn't prepare it properly. I didn't break it down
Break it down enough, yeah.
The second time it was much smoother.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
the old suck, and then sort of 10 minutes of going, oh yeah, nice, and then the next 20 minutes of, oh hello, hello, hoity pacey round the housey.
I think you're like me though. I like eating basil in a safe space. I don't want to be in public.
No.
Yeah.
For me, I'd be at the batch.
Yeah.
Fishing.
Yeah. Well,
That would be
you're going to be this weekend. That's going to be
digging out the fucking
digging out the
dirt.
slip.
Well, there's a landslide behind it.
Yeah, man.
Behind your batch.
Yeah, well, it's not my batch.
No.
I don't want to create this impression that I'm one of the lucky few who owns a batch. I don't. It's a family batch.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Oh,
it's
your family, or is it your...
shared by? Yes, not even really my family. It's my wife's
Oh,
family.
it's your family.
But they consider me part of the family now.
Oh,
I mean,
that's nice.
fuck, you'd think so. It's been 26 years I've
Exactly.
been part of the family.
Shit.
Have you
I mean,
ever-
they hated me for the first 16 years.
And then you guys all got on the basils together.
Yeah. We had a basil session and worked it out.
Far out.
I can't imagine you being into basil, Keezy.
I love basil.
Do you
Do
really?
you?
Yeah,
You're
but
a
to be
basil
honest,
guy.
I haven't eaten basil in so long. Like, it's
Right.
probably been 6 or 7 years.
Right. Oh,
Actually,
really?
no, that's a lie. When I get drunk, I sometimes eat basil.
Yeah,
That's not a good idea.
Yeah, it's a
I
terrible
find,
idea.
Yeah,
When I'm really drunk.
Yeah, and then you green out.
Yeah, and then that's the end
And
of
then
it.
you're puking everywhere
Then you're
because you had the
freaking out in the
basil.
bathroom and you're trying to pretend like you're not freaking out.
God.
You see, never really happened to me. I mean, I only used
you're
to
a
have
tank.
I only used to have basil when I had the booze.
Right.
That was actually that's not true.
Yeah, that sounds like bullshit.
That's fucking
Because
bullshit.
you strike me as the
I
kind of
mean-
guy that'd wake up and immediately get stoned in your early 20s
What do you mean stoned?
on basil.
Yeah,
Oh, on Basil. Yeah.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, thank you.
I had a mate who was massively into it, and would have a couple of morning sessions every now and then for sure. But I used to like having the beersies because it mellowed me out.
Yeah.
Like a couple, sure.
And I never had, from recollection,
You don't want to be pissed.
Yeah.
and do it.
I can never remember being steamed and having basil and then doing a power chunt or anything like that.
I've never done it the other way around, where you eat some basil and then you have a few beers. I've never done that.
Right.
It's always the other way around.
Right.
Which is always a terrible idea.
What do you reckon that all three of us get together and have a basil session?
Who's bringing the basil?
off.
Minogue.
Mogie's going to bring basil.
Mogie's shit.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to grow basil? I know
I tried to
back in
this
the
summer,
day. Oh, yeah.
but the seeds didn't. The basil just too wet.
The Hodaki Big Show. Weekdays at 4 on Radio Hodaki.
Well,
Mrs.
speaking of
Ruby.
reeking, that thing you gave me yesterday for my sleep,
yeah.
my bag just absolutely reeks of it. And so the next, and my wife actually said to me, well, the next time you go to the fucking airport, she's
You're in
going to be
trouble.
all on.
Basil
that's
seeds,
right. Well, they
wasn't it?
won't find anything, so you're all right there.
Which reminds me of a story, actually. My wife and I, we were travelling somewhere, and an old mate of mine came up to us at the airport, and he was travelling internationally, and he was fucking off his head.
It amazes me.
He was so stoned,
Yeah.
like stoned, and we gave him a hug, and he just reeked of fucking skunk. And he was like, yeah, no, I had to have a few toots because I'm not a good flyer.
Right.
And it was like, and he was flying international too, and I was like, fuck,
Yeah,
dude,
that's sketch.
seriously.
That's very
Well, you can
sketch.
be stoned as long as you haven't got any on you. I
Yeah,
guess.
he didn't have any on, but if there had been a dog within 200 metres of him, he would have been fucked.
It also doesn't work either because you're going to get stoned and then you've got to be there 2 hours before your flight.
Yes.
And so,
Yeah,
you know,
wears
by the
off.
time you get on.
Yeah. Well, often with that stuff, you're on the down, so that you're sort of chilled out. You know what I was reminded of marijuana and why I liked it. I love making love on marijuana.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Did you have some last night?
Nah,
Good on you, mate.
no. Weekend, I'll have a little toot.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, just to see how it affects my sleep.
Yeah.
But I remembered why. But I don't know if you found this when you got stoned. It makes me horny. I'm serious. I used to get stoned, and I used to say to myself, "What's that feeling I've got now that I'm stoned?" And I realised what it was I was horny.
Oh. Yeah, I think you might be right, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
young. You should be horny regardless.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
that was the other side of it, because it's been so long since I've smoked it. I was like, but was I already horny anyway?
Yeah.
And that just made me aware that I was horny.
Yeah, that's right.
The Hodaki Big Show. Weekdays at 4 on Radio Hodaki.
Guys, funnily enough, just
What?
on that,
You really freaked out. There.
just on the Basil front, I was driving back from the gym today, and as I was driving down the road, there was an electrical van, for electricians.
So a regular van, an electrician's van.
Yeah, an electrician's van. And I was driving along, and behind this electrician's van were two dudes dressed in their electrician's gear, so they were obviously working for that company,
I think I know where this is going.
having the most massive doobie behind the van, just sucking on this massive doobie. And I went, oh yeah, good times.
Did you yell up backbone?
Oh, you should have.
I should have actually. Would have
Yeah.
freaked them out.
What's that got to do with basil, though?
Well, just that
Basil?
I think they were having basil.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's all the rage at the moment, Keezy.
I don't think you want to be on the basils if you're wiring up a house, personally.
No, I agree with you there.
I had a friend actually, and
Bullshit.
she had a really interesting philosophy. She reckoned when she was on the basil,
Yeah.
she was a better parent.
Yeah, no, I know. My mum used to say that she was a better driver when she was hammered pissed.
Yeah. But you know what? You know what it's like when you're on the. You are more attentive to things. You get interested in things a bit more.
Oh, no, you start staring at your hand for hours.
Well, it depends what basil you're smoking in that case.
yeah.
I can imagine being
If
on the
it's skunk
basils.
if it's skunk basil,
But
sure.
If
Do you
you're
know? You go.
So I was going to say, you're on the basils, right? You've just had a baby. You're looking at the baby going, how did I make that? I'd start
Brr.
getting freaked out about that
Right.
whole situation.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Do you know what they call skunk?
No.
because it smells
Yeah.
exactly like a skunk. And I mean exactly. I was over in Mexico and I was like, who the fuck is smoking weed? And it was a skunk.
Right.
smoking weed.
Is that true story?
Yeah, no shit. Fucking out of it.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is that that's meant to smell bad, but I like the smell of skunk.
Yeah,
and also
yeah,
a skunk,
same.
as it turns out.
Yeah, I like the smell of skunk
nice.
as well.
Ganja!
And the weird thing is, it doesn't matter where I go at the moment, I smell skunk all the time.
Oh,
That's
it's
weird.
in your clothes.
I was in the house today and I was like, fuck, I can smell skunk. Who's smoking skunk?
My neighbours are on
It's a
the.
good name, eh, skunk?
They're on
Yeah,
the
it
chronic
is.
every night. My neighbours.
Chronic.
It comes
Seriously?
in through the bathroom every night without fail.
Came in through the bathroom window.
Oh, Joe Cocker, tune. But yeah, every single night, same time, skunk it up in the old garage there. I've seen it too. It's a giant bong.
You call the cops on them?
Yeah.
Because you're a massive nut.
No, I'm taking
Yeah.
photos. I'm
Yeah,
just building
good,
up a
good.
case.
You don't go over there for a bit of a toot there, Keezy?
Hoot and toot.
No, I went over there and gave them a piece of my mind about breaking the law in that and about
Yeah,
doing illegal
good.
drugs.
Yeah,
This
Don't
is
you know it's like
this is
that?
how it
Yeah.
was. Hey, brother! This lawyers. I gotta go for a shit. I gotta go for a shit.
Drugs are going to ruin your life. man.
I'm going to take a shit and then have a shower and then I'm going to come over and give you a piece of my mind.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Because you know, don't you, Mogi?
I
That, they're sitting in their garage looking at old Keezy
Ruining his
staggering around the place, pissing in the garden, doing poos on the lawn, and they're like, they're building up their case.
Why am I
Yeah.
pooing on the lawn all
I
of a
don't know,
sudden?
man. There's something wrong
you
with
tell
you.
me why you're doing that.
The Hodaki Big Show with Jason Hoyt, Mike Minogue, and Keezy.
Worst panic attack I've ever had
Yeah.
when I was stoned. It was a shocker.
Really? Oh. And you're in the bathroom, eh?
I wouldn't have smoked all of that, bro. I'll never forget that. mate.
all of that. Cause hey, all goods.
And it was a
Using
massive,
all your strength to pull yourself out of
massive
the depths
industrial
of the couch.
pipe bong with a butty, sticky brown
Purple
butt in
it was.
It was black, actually. It was black.
Oh, was it black?
It was dark brown black.
Right.
And I remember looking at it and going, oh, I shouldn't fucking smoke that. And then,
Neck mama.
oh, jeez.
Uh-oh.
And then the proverbial shit hit the fan, man. It was like, whoa, too much, dude.
When you're looking at yourself in the mirror in the bathroom going, and everything was spinning and stuff, and you were like, oh my God.
I was splashing my face with
Splashing
cold
your
water.
face. That's
Oh, I had an experience the other night. Because
Pulling it.
Yeah, pulling it. Because I've been sleeping well, so I got off the cannabis oil. I stopped taking it, the prescribed cannabis oil.
Yes.
And then I thought, actually, I'm just going to have some because I'm back to not sleeping as well. But I couldn't remember what the
dosage was.
Yeah. And so I had a syringe there because you extract it with a syringe without
Yes.
a needle on it. And I was like, ooh, I feel like it was because it was only bugger all, you know?
Yeah.
It's such a
You
small
like
amount.
3 or 4 drops or something?
I was like, is it 3 mils? Or maybe it was 2. I was like, yeah, no, because I started with 1 mil.
Yeah.
And then I worked my way up and I got to 3 mils.
Right.
So I did that, blasted into my mouth, and I was immediately like, that is
Way too much.
so much.
Was it?
That is so much. So I was like, well, maybe it's half of that. So I sort of spat out like maybe what was about half. And then you got to leave it in your mouth and let it sort of go under your tongue.
Yeah.
And then I went and jumped into bed and I was like, geez, I think I had too much there. I was, sort of said what I just said there to Zara. And she was like, no, it was 0.1 of a mil. So I'd had 30 times the recommended dose. And I spat it out. I woke up in the middle of the night so fucking stoned. I was off I was so out of it, it woke me up.
yeah.
And my head was just all over the show, man. I was giving myself a pep talk, just going,
Having a word with
just
yourself.
going, dude, you got to get back to sleep quick, man. Oh,
Yeah.
my thoughts were just full on. I was like, no, this isn't.
This is not
This is
normal
not
thinking.
reality. This is
Yeah.
real stoned thinking.
The Hodaki Big Show with Jason Hoyt, Mike Minogue, and Keezy.